So I worked there at Studio One, recording Freddie McGregor, Johnny Osbourne,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
those artists.
And actually, at the concert, you were kind of describing how they used to record at Studio One. Like, could you describe what a session was like there and how they would record a band?
Yes, going back to what we were talking about, right? Where the musicians have their own dynamic blend where they don't overplay or underplay the instrument.
Yeah, because everyone would be in the studio at the same time,
Same
all having to
time,
play together
yeah, one or two microphones,
for the whole band, right?
yeah, one microphone on the drums, and might have a different microphone for the rest of musicians.
Yeah.
But they don't overplay or underplay the instrument, and they had the better discipline. And as a result, when you put those musicians on stage, you can just do one balance and walk away from the console,
Yeah.
and everything going to remain balanced for the rest of the show because they're not relying on the monitors, which is one more problems that I was talking about with
Yeah.
monitors have on the stage, right? One of the problems is, well, I only want to hear my keyboard in my monitor, and I don't want to hear the horns in my monitor. So, what ends up happening, right, is he not either going to underplay the keyboard or overplay the keyboard because he's not blending with the rest of the musician. Either going to play the keyboard too hard or too soft. The other problem it's going to end up with is even though it's in milliseconds, right? The time travel from that the keyboard going to take, if somebody is required in their monitor, the time travel is going to take from his part of this stage, especially the big stage, bigger the stage is the more the time travel. Even though it's in milliseconds, it's going to have a tiny delay to go to the extreme part of the stage, and the various parts of the stage is not reaching near the same time, right? So that's the next problem, and as a result, you get at Flamim at DSS Pizza, we had everybody hearing the exact same house mix in the monitor. So now it caused the musicians to play with the correct level. What we used to do back in time, right? We have three people either blowing horns or harmony vocal.
Yeah.
So the one that is blowing too loud, we'll turn him up louder because he depending on the headphones, we
I
turn him
see.
up louder in his headphones, so it force him to play softer.
I
And
see.
the one that is playing too soft, right? We starve him in the headphones, so it forces him
Yeah, to come up and
to
adjust.
come up and adjust, and is why sometimes you see like the well-seasoned musician, they will just use one side of the headphone,
Yeah.
so they can dynamically blend with everybody else. Now that been lost at the birth of the electric guitar, from what we were saying back then.
Wow.
That been lost because these guitarists, the way how I recommend doing it, or like the guitar player, as hard as he can play, when I balance in the amplifier, it should not surpass. Like if you're playing trumpet, his electrical volume should not surpass your acoustical volume or the person who is singing.
I
But
see.
but they not every they lost that. They lost that ability with the invention of electronic guitar, because now he turned up so loud it passed even the acoustical volume of the drums.
Yeah. So then everybody's having to
And
come
then
up.
everybody turning up, and then the constant complaint is, I can't hear myself in the monitor.
Yeah. It's like instead of everybody going up, it's like your philosophy is kind of like everybody come down and balance to each other
But yeah,
instead of just loud,
everybody
loud,
need
loud.
to play within a balance.
Yeah.
And that dynamic track is lost. That's why you find in orchestras, right? Just imagine if Our orchestra is playing, everybody want their own mix.
Oh man. or, or if they're all playing electric violin, just cranking it up like
Yeah, that
crazy.
would be a nightmare for the engineer.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, because everybody in that surrounding, they learn how to play and balance themselves
Yeah.
acoustically.
Yeah, and that's kind of a lesson that you learned really early on in your career from Studio One and those sessions and the musicians, how they would perform.
Yeah, they learned that in the early days.
Nice.